All right. So
Get
I'm so
started.
excited to have a conversation with you today, Alesia. I know it's been an interesting few weeks in America, but really, to be
Yeah.
honest, for Black Americans, it's nothing new. This is a life that we've been going through our entire life, and I think now
Yeah.
people are getting the idea of it. So, we get
hmm
to have a little bit of conversation today,
hmm
and I'm super stoked to be here. So, hi, people in Instagram world. I am new at this technology stuff, so I want
Nothing
to
new.
introduce one of my really cool students, Alesia Wright.
Oh,
Hi, Alesia.
hi.
Alesia is the
Not so
president of
right.
BSU.
Yeah.
So we have some questions we're gonna ask. How are you doing, Alesia? And what have you been up to?
I've been doing pretty good. I've been up to just hanging out with my family. I was actually babysitting I was kind of like tutoring this 4-year-old who lives in my neighborhood. We took a pause right now, but that's kind of what I've been up to, just kind of been in my faith too. I've also been leading some protests that have been going on like within my neighborhood and that we've started. So that's been cool. First we were doing it every day, but then it kind of got a little bit overwhelming. So now we shifted it to 2 times a week. So I've
Yeah,
been up to planning that too and in a group that plans that. So yeah. How have you been?
I've been. Thank you for sharing. I've been good. I'm on campus now. Obviously, I've been coming on and off a little bit, trying to get things going for the next school year. Today we had a kind of team meeting with Lauren and Bella, trying to get things going. Been in meetings, quite a lot of meetings. I want to say that the school is taking this Black Lives Matter movement really serious, and we've had some meetings with Dr. Brower, and I think conversations are happening, and,
Oh,
and
that's
I'm
good.
I'm hopeful that the school we're gonna be moving in a right trajectory like we've been. So it's been great. It's a little tough sometimes with trying to balance a lot of things I need to do, but I cannot wait to
hmm
see all of you back on campus. I'm not lying. I
I
miss
know.
I miss all of you so much, and looking forward to August 11th when my students move in, and August 17th when classes begin. All right, so it's been yeah. Anyway, so our next question is, tell us about MOSAIC. So I guess I will say something a little bit about MOSAIC. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Yes, that's what you're supposed to do.
All right. MOSAIC, it's actually an acronym, and it stands for
Oh,
Multicultural Opportunities
sorry.
for students. Just what just happened to your
Oh
line?
my gosh, what happened? Just kidding. We're good. We're
Um,
good.
so
Forgot about that.
MOSAIC stands for multicultural opportunities for students actively involved in the community. And basically what we do here is provide literally opportunities for all students who are interested, but really
hmm
provide a home away from home for our students of color, our international students, our students with disabilities, and students who are interested in gender equality. So that's what we do here in MOSAIC. We have 9 different clubs that falls under MOSAIC. We have ASU, we have Alive, we have BSU, Break, Delta Alpha Pi, Here Hawaii, the Middle Eastern Club, Team Barnabas,
hmm
Unite. So those are the 9 clubs we have, and we kind of spread our wings around campus, and and that's what we do. We are here to lead the conversation, be part of the conversation, help students understand
hmm
what it is to be a student of color on campus, what it is to be a woman on campus, what it is to be a Black woman on campus, what it is to be
hmm
a student with disability on campus. So that's our job, and we're super stoked about that. So yeah, that's what MOSAIC
Yeah,
does. Anything you want to,
that's
from your
awesome.
perspective, what is MOSAIC to you?
Um, Yeah, I feel like a mosaic, basically everything you hit on, but I feel like it's just a place where the students can come who want to be involved in different cultures or different like things that like they maybe wouldn't get anywhere else. And they're just around like a loving group of students who everyone gets to fully be themselves and diversity is accepted and celebrated there too. So I feel like you kind of hit on everything on what mosaic is.
Cool. So tell me, before I go into what Mosaic is planning for this upcoming year, what is tell me about BSU, and what are some of your plans for this coming year?
I feel like for this upcoming year, BSU is kind of in like a critical position on campus because we have a group of our members who are going to be returning where they've been coming to BSU. They're pretty educated, they know. And then we're also going to have another group of students who have this newfound interest in BSU or newfound interest in quote unquote justice and want to be a part of something bigger and maybe step outside their comfort zone. So we've kind of been thinking about how we want to basically how we're going to cater to both groups because there's going to be students like me. Can you hear me, Sam?
Yeah,
I don't know if you can hear me. Okay. There's going to be students like me, how you said in the beginning, like this, what's going on right now is nothing new. So obviously we're not trying to have those students where it's nothing new, say everything all over again for them or like feel like the pressure of that. But then we're going to have these group of students where like it is something new to them. So how are we going to cater to them? So some people have reached out to us on like what we can do to help and stuff like that. So what kind of we've been planning to do but isn't finished yet is kind of like some sort of like manual or something that we can have available to PLNU students, basically saying how like these stuff that's going around on the world, like how it applies to our campus. So like some sort of resource for like our newer members, but then also just for our members who we've already had and still coming in, like we just want to make sure it's still just like that safe place because we don't want to turn into like BSU with some like tourist attraction club, like, oh, like, let me see what happens in your club, like, oh, let me leave. Like this, we still want to have like a family and something comfortable. It's kind of still in the works because since there's so many rules going into next year with like how many people can meet at one time and just like what's that gonna look like we're gonna have to find ways to meet without like maybe not always being together, maybe meet in different groups. But the club right now, it's kind of honestly like it is changing because like the demand of it is changing and like what people expect out of it is changing as well. So
yeah, right. That's amazing. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what y'all have planned for the school year. And you said something, and I agree with you. I think this coming year is such a big turning point, you know, for BSU, and I am so excited that, you know, we have the right leaders in place for BSU for such a time as this. I think you're an amazing president, you're an amazing leader.
Thank you.
And you and your board, I can't wait for the dynamics that's going to show up and just, you know, lead our campus, you know, in terms of conversation. Now, in terms of what Mosaic is going to be doing this upcoming year, we are, what's the word I'm looking for? We want to focus more on dialogue, right? And conversation. And because when I see a lot of things happening on campus right now, I mean, not just on campus, around the world, around our country right now, I think there's a huge lack of education on the issue that matter, right? There is a lack of, you know, knowledge about Black experience, about the history of Black culture in this campus, and why we are so on edge all the time. It's because we've been on edge our entire existence. So I feel like there needs to be a level of education that people need to understand, especially white America need to understand that where we're coming from, what it is that we've been through in our life. Because to just say that, oh, he's kneeling down because he disrespected the flag, that's not what that's about.
Yeah.
And people need to know that. And I think ignorance is the cause of this. So I feel like, you know, they say ignorance is bliss. I don't believe that, because it's not really a blessing to be ignorant. So MOSAIC, you know, we're going to be taking up the mantle of the posture of showing awareness that this is what this life is. This is what life has been. I know we are hearing about George Floyd right now. I know we are hearing about Amy Cooper right now, but this is not new.
Yeah.
You know, this is not new. So we're going to be diving into more panels and conversations and guest speakers, and we're going to focus in on that a lot this coming year. So I hope everybody can join MOSAIC and BSU and all the other clubs to really join this conversation with open mind, you know, with open mind and open heart. And, you know, I'm always willing to talk to people who don't get it if they really are genuine about wanting to understand it. So that's what we're going to be doing. And earlier on, you talked a little bit about, you know, what you've been doing in your community with the protests and stuff. Share a little bit with me where your heart is heavy, and if you see any hope in our society right now.
Yeah. So I feel like it's honestly been an amazing thing what I've been doing in my personal community at home. I live in Arizona, for those that don't know, and basically I live in a community where I've lived there for like 18 years until I went to Point Loma. But basically, I'd never seen a protest or anyone really do anything for anyone. So it was kind of like a shock. We kind of have like, I feel like this is kind of a lot with people in our generations, just like a lot of talk on social media. But when it kind of like comes time for actions, it's like, oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to go, or like, oh, like I'd rather just like kind of stay behind my phone and like tell other people to do stuff. But like, I don't really want to do anything, but I'll tell you to go out there and do stuff. And this was kind of the first time that I was like, no, like, I don't like being behind the phone. Like, you can do a lot of stuff behind the phone, but it's like when you're really out there and you're screaming for justice and you're calling for this, you're like making eye contact with people and you're around other people who like care, it just really shows like how real it is. And also, I don't know if it's getting in and out.
We hear.
Also, it just like kind of just showed how, can you hear me, Sam?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Maybe.
I can hear you.
Okay. And it also just shows just how like, it's just a lot more real when you're actually out there, and just kind of shows like how much of a real thing it is. And basically a lot of these protests, I don't know if you've seen them, but they've been mixed. They've been multiracial. They've been white people, black people, Mexican people. I think like at our protests, there have been more, we like, as for African Americans, like we're heavily outnumbered at our protests. Like it's really not just us out there protesting, but it's just like a big word that's been going around is allies. And it's been great to see like all the allies out there. I feel like maybe where my heart is still heavy is, like you just said, like it's nothing new what's happening. So it's tough when you're getting pressure from a lot of places, like you need to say this, or you need to do this, or you need to do that, or you're not doing enough. But it's kind of just like is the people telling me these things, like, are they doing anything? Like I'm trying to do stuff in my own way, but I'm also trying to live about my own life too. And also like where I found my peace and like what I need to do, and just like I still have responsibilities and I still have a family. So it's just kind of like balancing both. But I think it's been an amazing thing to do. I would recommend to anyone, just like, if you decide to go to a protest or something like that, like think about your reason for going. Like, shouldn't it be to take a picture? It shouldn't be like a one-time thing. Like Rome wasn't built in a day. And that's something we kind of noticed with ours, is like, oh, when it was like kind of like trending in like our neighborhood, like more people were showing up, but it was just to like take a picture and show that they were there. So that was kind of like tough to realize, but it's been like a super humbling experience.
Yeah, that is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And for me, when my heart is heavy, like you, is there are groups of people that have been through this so many times in their life, and it just, I heard someone the other day on the radio, it's a sports radio, And he said something that really broke my heart, and said something to the effect of, basically stuff happens and get over it. And, people get discriminated against all the time. And it just bothers me that there's still some people who think that way, that feel that way. It happened 600 years ago, get over it. And it's like, there's a generational trauma that follows, right? Yes, you, Alesia Wright, didn't go through slavery yourself, but there is this trauma that is kind of fit, that's part of you now. There's a hurt and there's a pain there. And to tell someone who's in pain to get over it, that just breaks my heart, And so my heart has been heavy, and I've talked to a lot of older people in my life, and they think back when their mom and dad gave them the talk, how to act right when you go in public. And all these years later, my son is 6 years old, and we're having the same conversation. And I like to think, and that's just kind of tie into my hope. I like to think that maybe my 6-year-old son is part of a generation coming up that things might be better for them. There's, and people are maybe listening now, and hopefully things will change. So that's my hope, that maybe my baby Ian can grow up and wouldn't have to give that talk to his son, and his daughter. And so that's my hope. That's the hope I have. And I'm also very hopeful that on our campus, we're doing things like this, and we're having conversations, and we're not bound by some code of being afraid and not being able to speak up. Because I think that's also is a killer of education. It's a killer of progress when you're so afraid to speak up. And we've been given an opportunity to speak up about what's going on this campus, and to effect change. And I think you, as one of the presidents of the People of Color clubs on campus, I think you are in the forefront of exerting that change on this campus. So I want to say thank you for people like you, for standing up and for fighting and not being quiet. Because that's what they want us to do. They want you to be quiet. And you're not doing that. And that gives me hope. That gives me hope. So you talk a little bit about the protest, and you talk about how there's kind of like a multiracial people there. What other things stood out to you during that experience?
I feel like I said, it's just there's a lot of difference when you see stuff over the phone and when you're actually out there yourselves. There's just like multiple feelings, and it's kind of easy to imagine, like, my protests are super peaceful, like nothing, we're just in our hometown, we've been here, everyone, like, no one like really wants any trouble or is like really like willing to put like something on the line in order for this cause. Like, they're just like, yeah, I want to be out there like spreading our cause, but like I'm not running the risk of like getting arrested or something like that. And I feel like I just think about like maybe how like fired up I get, or like when I'm out there I get more like passionate about it. But I imagine if I was in a place where like maybe not everyone around me is willing to like run that risk, because I feel like a lot of people are just like, these riots are like not okay, like the looting is not okay. And it's just like, we really don't know until we're in those situations on how we would personally react or like what we would personally do. So I try my best just not to like judge those people who are in those situations, because it's just like they're in extremely different circumstances than I'm in. So I wouldn't know how I would react in those situations. Say if there was some Target open and my family's been on unemployment and we don't know where we're going to eat and it's already open. I'm sorry, everyone else is getting away from it. I might just have to step right into that Target and bring some eggs home for my family. But it's just if there was Target open right now by me, I don't have that dire need for that. So it's not really that option. And it's not really something that I'm in some type of oppressed community living here in my community in Arizona. So I feel like that's something to kind of realize, like everyone in different parts of this country is going through a lot different circumstances, and something that might seem so absurd to me here might not be so absurd there. It might be necessary, or like how they're gonna make it by the next day. And it's just they don't have as much as we do. So that's something I've kind of felt too.
And you bring up a really good point. You know, we always tend to focus on the end result rather than the impetus that started that, right?
Yeah.
Let's take Eric Garner, for example. Well, he was selling single cigarettes by the street side. Well, why was he selling single cigarettes by the street side? Because that man is, he needs money to buy food, right? You know, when you push a group of people to the brink, and then they're acting that way. Well, what got them to that point?
Right.
What got George Floyd, if indeed he was about to pass off a fake $20 bill? What got him to that point to have to use a fake $20 bill? Because he doesn't have a real $20 bill. So instead of focusing on, well, how can we put a $20 bill in his hand, or make sure that he has ways of earning that, instead of arresting him and putting a knee on their neck. So we tend to focus on these kind of like symptoms. It's kind of like having a cough, and you cough once, like, oh, let's fix the cough. But there's a cold. There's something within your body that needs to be fixed, right? And the cough is just a symptom of that. So, yeah, thank you. I think that's, for me, that's the bigger point of this whole thing. You know, is we're focusing on all these little symptoms, and no one is talking about what happened in Central Park with Amy Cooper, right? What gave a white woman these rights and these audacity to say, I'm going to call the cops and I'm going to change my tone and voice to make it sound like you, a black man, is threatening my life, right? We're not talking about that. We're talking about, well, the cops came and arrested this person. You know, so I think we need to get to the root of the problem instead of just, kind of beating around the bush with all these little sentiments and all these little symptoms. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much about that. So is there anything you want Point Loma students to know? What is helpful and what is harmful in this situation?
I feel like going forward, just for Point Loma students, is like to be an ally. Like I said, I feel like a lot of times I've had some people approach me, like text me and say like, how can they be here for me and stuff like that. But like, it's kind of not the people that were ever the problem to begin with. It's people who have like been kind to me from the start since I've been there, who've never treated me differently. And I feel like those people aren't the people who need like some sort of big wake up call right now. And it's kind of just the people with denial. I know we had that huge thing on our campus this past school year that kind of had some division with like the whole chapel thing and stuff like that. And it did expose to more people that like there is division on our campus that people don't always understand. But I would say.
Yeah, you're kind of breaking a little bit.
Is it cutting out a little bit? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me fine?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. Keep talking and maybe we'll get better.
Okay. But basically, I don't know where it cut out at, but I noticed that like when I had my first day of class, like no one would choose to sit by me. And I'm like, everyone here, like in this class, like why is nobody choosing to sit by me? And it was like, basically, I realized after going to a couple classes, I was like, oh shoot, it's because I'm black. Like no one's sitting by me. Everyone else is random. And it was like a pattern I noticed like fall semester when it was first day of classes and spring semester. And like I said, it wasn't until I started like accumulating more friends at Point Loma did like people start sitting by me, but it was the people that I knew. But it was kind of like, I would just say for Loma students to be aware and like look at your personal friend groups. So basically look at who's in your friend group and see if your friend group is diverse or not. Because something I preach is like each different race or ethnicity or different type of people bring something new to the table. So if your friendship or one group of people, one race, it's like you're missing different parts of God. So it's nice to have diverse friend groups that bring in different parts of God's kingdom to the table. Can you hear me, Sam?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of.
Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you. All right. So can you guys hear? There you go. Are you done? Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you hear me? I don't think you can hear me. Can you hear me, Alesia? All right. Well, while we wait for Alesia to come back on, if you guys can hear us, give us a shout out. I have no idea what he just said. But if anybody out there can hear us, we have a few. Go ahead, sorry. Can you hear me now? All right. So while we're waiting for Alesia to get her stuff back, I guess we can start asking some questions while Alesia fixes her stuff. So if you guys have any questions for me or Alesia, this would be a good time to.
Dang. Am I
All
back
right,
on?
I think you're back now.
Who knows? This is horrible. I don't know where it cut off, but I don't know. I was just kind of talking.
That's all right. That's all right. We're almost there. We're almost done here. But so the last question I want to tell you, I want to ask you, Alesia, is, and then we can throw it out to our audience here. Is thinking about coming back in the fall. What are you excited about, and what gives you pause?
I feel like I'm just excited about having the community back because I feel like it was just so. Oh, whoopsie. Oh my gosh, I have issues. I feel like it was just so sad that it was cut short. I feel like everyone was so excited just for that last half of spring. Everyone had like new goals, things they wanted to accomplish, how they wanted to finish the semester, maybe relationships they wanted to build with people. People were starting to get more accustomed. It's just like it just got cut so fast. Like no one really thought after spring break that it'd be over unless probably would have done some different things like leading up to spring break. So I think I'm just excited to have like that community back and just like be more grateful for what I have at the school. Because like I feel like when you're in college you start going through the motions, just getting accustomed to like the friends you're always with and what did you always eat and just like this is just what I do. But like no, like once it was all gone, it was like, wait a second, like that was actually like a big blessing that maybe I didn't fully appreciate until it was gone. So yeah.
Cool. And what gives you pause? What makes you a little apprehensive about coming back?
I feel like honestly just the virus because it's gonna be a little bit different just this year. And it's like it's gonna be back, but are we really gonna be back? And just like even with my own personal club, like the club can't be the same because we can't meet in certain size groups. We're gonna have to do things differently. So I feel like that's just kind of give everyone pause, just not about just the school, but just like life in general. Like in what way is life gonna go back and kind of how? So it's just like very unknown on where things are gonna go, you know?
Yeah. For me, what makes me excited is like you, the community. You know, I think I said it before. I genuinely miss all of you because I've been seeing you since spring break. You know,
I know.
and that's way too long to not see my students. Y'all keep me young and y'all keep me in check. So, you know, I love that. But what give me pause for me is in my line of work, I have to see the bigger picture. So I'm already seeing the end of the semester, and I don't want that to come. You know, I really don't. So that what makes me excited is the beginning, but what gives me pause is knowing that that's gonna end at some point. So you know, I'm hoping that you know. But anyway, Is there anything else you want to add before we go into Q&A? I know I see someone ask a question right there. So, is there anything you want to add, Alesia?
No, we can go to the open
All right.
question.
So let's see. I'm guessing this is where the questions are. Okay, so one of the questions: what other encouragement can you give to white allies who are afraid to speak up for fear of sounding ignorant or sensitive? Well, I'll go first, and you can. I do believe if you genuinely are interested in learning, I would say speak up anyways. It takes courage. I know that, but that fear that you're feeling that you're gonna mess up and someone's gonna laugh at you or call you out, that momentary fear that you have, that is the life of a Black person they live every day. So you cannot have that fear really hold you back from asking the question. Now, obviously, if you are, and I'm using the royal you, if you're racist and you're prejudiced and you're not ready to learn, and you just want to cast as doubt and confusion, then you have the right to be afraid. But if you genuinely want to learn, ask a question. Find someone that you trust and ask that question to, or come to my office and ask me that question, and I'll help you maneuver through that. So that's don't be quiet for fear of rejection or fear of being labeled, because silence speak volumes, ironically. So.
And then Ashley said too that like if you do speak up and then if you're corrected, just like understand that, like don't going into it thinking that like what I'm thinking is right. But the person who asked that question even said like with fear of being wrong, but just be ready to learn and like be ready to like maybe challenge your own thinking that you've had throughout the years, and just know that it could be wrong. It could be from the wrong source.
Yeah. Ashley asked, how can we keep this momentum we've gained in awareness and accountability since quarantine? That's a good question, Ash. It's a really good question. How do you keep it? I would say keep learning, keep reading about it, keep researching on your own, keep having that conversation. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be on a grand scale, right? It doesn't have to be on a stage in Brown Chapel or in your friend group. Have those conversations. What do you have to say, Alesia?
Yeah, I would say that too. Just like keep having conversations, keep like slipping it in there, because like you said, it's nothing new to us, or it's nothing maybe new to my friend group, but that's because like you said, like we'll talk about it, or it's not something we will like choose to ignore. But it's just like if you're the person that friend group on, maybe if you see something happen in the news, or maybe you witness some injustice, or maybe like you like talk about how you do these things, just like bringing them more to everyday life so that we know it's not okay. And then like the more your friends see like, oh, I don't stand for that, your friends like people you hang out with, that's who you tend to become like. So if you're the person in your friend group who's just like, this isn't okay, they know you don't stand for this, they won't do that stuff around you, and if you're just gonna rub off on them. Like light is always gonna exceed darkness, so that's just something to remember.
That's awesome. That's a really good answer. Thank you. Do you have any more questions? Anyone has anything else? All right. We are going to give a little bit more time. All right. So Marissa Neptune, will BSU in the future give opportunities for others? All right. Alesia, you want to answer that?
Okay, that's going to be me. Yeah, so I feel like I've been kind of asked that question. Someone had asked me like, oh, would you ever do a protest at the school or something like that? In all honesty, it hasn't been before a thing that like has been brought to my attention that students would feel comfortable doing or anything. Like I know I have like some students who would, but like in all honesty, like there was a lot of like we don't really know who would be interested in something like that. But I know now, like going forth, we've talked about, and like also since the school has really been seen as like being on our side and wants to be kind of like on the right side of history, like that would be allowed and could be something that we could do. And I think we would have a good enough turnout. It'd be decent enough and like maybe bring to some students' attention, and maybe since on campus they'll feel like more comfortable with it. So yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah. And I like to say that as a student, it is your right. I mean, as a human being, it is your right to plan a protest. We do have a process. We do have a process on campus for you to go through that channel. You can't, you know, unfortunately, you can't just get up and do it. You know, you have to. You have to go through proper channels. Talk to. You can come talk to me. We'll go through public safety to make sure that, you know, traffic is being coordinated for you for safety issues. I want to make sure that everybody, you know, people that need to know. But you as a student have every right to have your voice be heard in a way that is peaceful. And that's the key word, that's peaceful, and will raise awareness to your concerns. So yeah. So thanks, Marissa. I appreciate your question. All right. Any more questions? I do want to say, sorry, you're gonna say something? I do want to say I really do appreciate this opportunity from the Loma Connect group. I know, like Ashley said, we've started a conversation. This is by no means the conversation, and you know, we're not going to be able to solve anything within a semester or a year, right? It's gradual work, and that work sometimes is grinding. That work sometimes is hard, and not giving up is the key to working in diversity and inclusion and anti-racism, right? Not giving up, not resting on your laurels. So we've started it. We're going to come back to school, God willing, and we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to continue this fight. And we're so blessed to have a school like Point Loma where we have these 9 groups. We have these 9 groups of, you know, student clubs that are willing to lead the way. And, you know, BSU is there, ASU is there, Alesia is there. We're all here. Listen to your friends of color who are saying they're hurt and they're in pain. Ask questions. Don't take the status quo. I think that we binding together can get some things done, and we can make a lot of waves if we choose to. So that's my prayer to you. And do you have anything you want to add before I close this out in prayer?
No, I think I said anything. I don't have anything to add.
Well, thank you, Alesia. I really appreciate you. And thank you for everyone that was able to join. We're so grateful for who you are, grateful for having this conversation. And I pray the blessings of God over your life. I pray that God continue to work within each one of us to bring about change, lasting change into this country and into our communities. We thank God and we love you, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.